All right, this is just a quick video to note some differences between a PWM receiver in the Express ELRS ecosystem and a receiver more like this. Let's see if I can open it up. It's going to be hard to see with the reflectiveness there. Okay, a receiver like this, an RP1 or RP2 or other, model names for a receiver that basically just has these four wires. Okay, whether it has an external antenna or not doesn't matter, but this is not a PWM receiver. It's a more traditional, we call it a CRSF receiver. Okay. So in the other videos, we've been talking about how to configure this to output like S-Bus and things like that. I just wanted to make a note. You can also have this type of receiver output S-Bus. You can totally do that. You won't have any extra PWM pins because there are no PWM pins on this. But if you wanted to set this up for S-Bus, like for use on your flight test or a light, okay, or another flight controller that can only understand S-Bus, then you can totally do that. Let's look at the web interface here real quick. All right. So this, right now I have the PWM receiver powered up, okay? So we still see the PWM output here. You would not see that if you had the CRSF receiver. But what you would still see is this section here with the serial protocol. Okay. By default, yours would be set to CRSF because that's the default that these other receivers would come with. Okay. If we look at this, that's the kind of this receiver comes with. Okay, CRSF. But you can change it just like with the PWM receiver to be S-Bus. Okay, and you can set your S-Bus failsafe just like we did in the other video. You typically want to set that to last position so you get the failsafe bit that gets sent whenever you lose a link with your model. Okay, with your aircraft. So really, that's all you'll need to know. You just won't have this section here for PWM output. You'll just go to the model tab and it'll go straight to the serial protocol where you can adjust that if you want to and allow yourself to use S-Bus. Okay. Now on with S-Bus, there's typically not a transmit and receive. Okay. And so if you have these four wires, you're like, well, what are the four wires? Why do I have four of them? Okay. You're not going to really need the wire that is attached to the receive pin on your receiver because there's not really going to be any data that's flowing back in a lot of cases. There may be some exceptions to that depending on what you're plugging this into. Okay. But in some cases you won't need the receive wire, in some cases you will, but at minimum you'll need the power and ground and the transmit wire. Most receivers will have it labeled, let's see here, either on the receiver, this is as far as I can go, I don't know if you guys can see those little teeny letters there. Okay, we have is that RX, TX, power and ground. Okay, so you can tell which wire is which. But if it's not labeled on the receiver, hopefully the manufacturer would supply some kind of chart or something like this. Okay, this one's not labeled on the chart, which is not super helpful. But hopefully you have the labeling on a chart or on the receiver itself so you can tell which wire is which. Or maybe you can find it online. But you may not need the receive wire, you may only need transmit wire. Just depends on how you're doing things with the S-Bus protocol there. Okay, hopefully that helps if you're working with one of these and you want to use S-Bus or some other protocol other than the standard CRSF. Thanks.